All right, let's get into it. We're tackling a huge GE question today. Who is the best football player of all time? I mean, it's a debate that just never gets old, right?
Yeah, it's like one of those classic pub arguments that can go on forever.
Exactly. And it's cool because the sources we've got here, they go beyond just like listing trophies and stats.
It's more nuanced than that, right?
Yeah, it's like they get into how the idea of what makes a player great changes over time, you know?
Yeah.
Like, how do you compare Pelé from way back when to, say, Messi or Ronaldo today?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the game itself has evolved so much, even just tactically. It's a different world.
Totally. So where do we even begin?
Well, the sources do lay out some criteria, like obviously skill, achievements, influence, how they perform under pressure.
But then there's that it's factor, right?
Right, that intangible something that just makes certain players capture the world's imagination. Like, you just can't quantify that.
So it's not just G about the numbers. It's about their impact on the sport.
Yeah.
Maybe even beyond the sport.
Exactly. Like, think about Maradona's Hand of God in '86. Controversial, sure, but iconic, debated for decades. That's something that goes beyond just, athletic ability.
Okay, so let's talk Pelé. The king, right. Over 1,200 career goals, 3 World Cups. Those are numbers that are just mind-blowing. But what do they really tell us?
Yeah, I thought that was interesting. One of your articles pointed out that Pelé played before we had, like, global media everywhere. So how did he become such a global icon? Part of it's the sheer dominance, of course. But there's also this idea that what he achieved, it tapped into something universal.
Ah, I see what you mean, like it transcended language, culture. You didn't need to be a hardcore fan to understand he was special.
Precisely. And it makes you wonder, if a player like Pelé came up today with instant global connectivity, would his impact be even bigger? Or does that mystique, that gradual spreading of his legend, add to it?
That's such a good point. Would we be more impressed or less impressed if we saw those goals every day on our phones? All right, now we have to talk Maradona. This is where it gets really interesting. Because unlike Pelé, he was almost as famous for what he did off the pitch as on it.
Maradona was pure passion through and through. Rebellious, outspoken, sometimes just plain controversial.
Oh, yeah, but that's part of what made him so captivating. He wasn't just a footballer, he was a cultural icon, right?
Absolutely. A symbol of rebellion, pushing back against authority. And that came through in his play, too. That goal against England in '86, just weaving through the whole team.
Like he was playing by different rules.
Totally. Mocking the establishment with his pure audacity. There was a quote in one of your sources, a journalist who covered him said, he played football like he lived life, reckless abandon, disregard for convention, and that flair for the dramatic, mesmerizing, indeed infuriating.
Perfect. Pelé, you had this almost divine, effortless talent. Maradona was raw emotion, almost chaotic genius. You couldn't predict him.
Unpredictability made him both hero and villain, depending who you asked. He polarized people, but no denying how intensely he made everyone feel.
Okay, so we've gone from the king to the rebellious genius. Now let's fast forward. Lionel Messi. A lot of people say he iced the GOAT, especially after that 2022 World Cup win.
One of the sources had this tactical breakdown of Messi's style, contrasting him with both Pelé and Maradona. They talked about his spatial awareness, seeing the field like a chessboard, and those dribbling skills. Unreal.
Like he's playing a different sport sometimes. I swear I saw a highlight reel where he's practically walking past defenders like they're frozen.
Right. This source argued that Pelé was explosive power, Maradona was improvisation. Messi is about precision, control, a quieter brilliance, but just as effective.
But there's still that magic, though. It's not just that he's technically brilliant. It's how he makes the impossible look easy.
Exactly. And a constant theme in the sources about Messi is his humility. All those achievements, but he's grounded, focused on the game, always improving. It's like he doesn't even realize the legend he's building.
Total opposite of Maradona, who seemed to love the spotlight, the controversy, the whole rock star thing. It's wild how two players, both considered among the best ever, can be so different.
And that brings us to the other modern titan, Cristiano Ronaldo. Often presented as Messi's opposite, Where Messi is seen as naturally gifted, Ronaldo is all about that relentless work ethic, that drive.
He's the I'll prove you wrong guy, right? From humble beginnings, maybe not the most naturally gifted, but he outworked everyone, turned himself into this machine.
There was this Ronaldo biography that talked about how he meticulously analyzes his weaknesses, then trains like crazy to overcome them, constantly pushing boundaries. And it shows goals, trophies, broken records.
And across different leagues, too. England, Spain, Italy. Now back to England. It's
Yeah.
like he wants to prove he can conquer any challenge. So is it nature or nurture? Talent or effort? Ronaldo makes you think.
And the answer is probably somewhere in between. Can't discount natural ability, but Ronaldo shows how far sheer willpower can take you. Even if you're not the most naturally gifted, you can still achieve huge things with hard work.
Okay, so far we've got the king, the rebel, the quiet maestro, the relentless machine. But there's one more player who comes up in these GOAT conversations, and he brings something totally different. Neymar.
Neymar. He's almost a throwback to that Brazilian jogo bonito, the beautiful game.
Bref.
Flair, creativity, that instinctive connection to the ball. It's like watching a dancer out there.
He brings that joy, that love for the game, and it's infectious, you know? Even if you're rooting against him, you kind of got to smile when you see him play.
One source talked about how he grew up playing futsal, that fast-paced indoor version. Really emphasized his skill and improvisation.
So that explains it. The footwork, the close control, the tricks.
Exactly. It's all there in his style. But he's not just flashy. He's got the killer instinct, too. Scores goals, sets up teammates, does it all at the highest level, both with Barcelona and now PSG.
Right, and that record-breaking transfer fee to PSG, even a few years ago now, it still shows how highly regarded he is. But the question is, can he reach that legendary status, that global recognition like the others?
Good question. The talent's there, the charisma. But has he hit that level of sustained dominance, that inevitability you get with a Messi or Ronaldo?
That's what we got to figure out. All right, so we've got 5 incredible players, different eras, different styles, and what's becoming clear is this isn't about who's better. It's about recognizing different kinds of greatness.
Couldn't agree more. It's about appreciating how each player has pushed the sport forward and how they've captivated audiences worldwide.
It's like a museum full of masterpieces. You don't have to pick just one to appreciate the beauty and artistry of it all.
Exactly. Each one brings something unique to the table.
So, you know, we were just talking about these individual players and the magic they bring, right? But football, it's a team sport.
Right. You can't do it alone.
Even the best players in the world, they need the right team around them to really shine.
Absolutely. And actually, one of your sources makes that point really well.
Yeah.
Yeah, they look at how each player's legacy is tied to the specific teams they played on and the tactics those teams used. It's fascinating.
So it's like you can't just be talented. You need the right pieces around you, the right coach, the right system.
It all has to click.
To unlock that full potential.
Like, let's take Pelé, for example. Spent most of his career with Santos FC.
Santos.
A lot of people might not realize how dominant that Santos team was.
Really?
Oh, yeah. They had this fluid, attacking style that it fit perfectly with Pelé's strengths.
So it wasn't just Pelé single-handedly carrying them?
No. He had a supporting cast that really amplified his brilliance.
I see.
And then later in his career, he moves to the New York Cosmos, right? Totally different situation. The North American Soccer League was still, it was growing.
Yeah.
But Pelé's presence, boom, instant credibility, global attention.
It's amazing how one player can change a whole league like that.
Right. It speaks to a different kind of influence, beyond just individual awards.
Totally. Okay, so now let's look at Maradona at Napoli. Before Maradona got there, they were kind of an underdog in the Italian league, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But then he arrives, and suddenly they're winning Serie A titles, breaking the dominance of those big northern clubs.
It was huge.
It must have been incredible for the fans.
Oh, it was. It was like a movie.
Yeah.
The outsider comes in, leads the underdogs to glory. But it was more than just football, honestly.
Yeah.
Maradona became a symbol for the city of Naples, for the whole region of southern Italy. It was about pride, identity, challenging the establishment.
It was a statement.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So his impact, it went way beyond the pitch. He was a cultural icon, almost like a folk hero.
Okay, now shifting gears a bit, let's talk Messi. He spent most of his career at Barcelona, and they're known for that tiki-taka style, right?
Oh, yeah. Tiki-taka, short passes, quick movement, keeping possession, basically just wearing the other team down.
That's exhausting.
Oh, it is. For both sides.
But Messi, he was the perfect maestro for that orchestra.
Couldn't have said it better myself. His dribbling, vision, linking up with teammates, it all just clicked in that system.
But then he moved to Paris Saint-Germain, a totally different environment. Did he adapt?
That's what's amazing about Messi.
Yeah.
Even though he was so linked to that Barcelona style, He's shown he can thrive anywhere. At PSG, he's playing with superstars like Mbappe and Neymar, and he's still incredible.
So he's not just a product of one system.
Nope. He elevates any team he's on.
Got it. Okay, now Cristiano Ronaldo, he's played for some of the biggest clubs. Manchester United, Real Madrid, Juventus.
Yeah, a real journeyman in a way, but always at the top.
And won titles everywhere he goes. It's like he collects trophies.
Well, one of the sources really highlighted his work ethic and discipline. He's famous for it. Fitness, diet, training.
Always pushing himself to the limit.
Right. That combination of natural talent and that relentless drive.
To be the best.
Exactly. And that's why he's been able to adapt to different leagues, different styles of play, and still score goals like crazy. He's a complete player.
Makes sense. And finally, Neymar. He also made that big move from Barcelona to Paris Saint-Germain, right? How has that been for him?
Well, he went there to be the star, to step out of Messi's shadow.
Create his own legacy.
Exactly. And he's had individual success for sure.
Yeah.
But the team, they haven't quite reached the same level, especially in the Champions League. That's the big one for European clubs.
So even with all that talent...
It still takes a team effort.
Yeah.
All the pieces have to fit.
That's true. And sometimes it's about more than just winning trophies.
Right.
It's about creating those moments that go beyond the sport itself, the ones people talk about for generations.
Those legendary moments.
Yeah.
Like Maradona's Hand of God.
Or Pelé winning those World Cups.
They become part of history, part of culture.
Okay, so we've talked about how these players were shaped by their teams, by the systems they played in. But they also shaped the game itself globally, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. These guys are global icons. Their influence goes way beyond the pitch. Fashion, music, even social and political movements.
So let's start with Pelé. He came up when football was really starting to gain popularity worldwide.
Yeah, the perfect time.
And his style of play, his charisma, that smile, it all helped bring the sport into the spotlight.
He embodied Brazilian football. The joy, the creativity.
Was an ambassador.
Exactly. And his influence, it spread all over the world.
And then you have Maradona, who was, well, a lot more controversial.
Definitely.
But that rebellious spirit, his outspokenness, his connection to the working class.
It resonated with people.
People who felt overlooked, marginalized. They saw him as a symbol of defiance.
He challenged the status quo.
Yeah.
On and off the pitch.
Mm-hmm.
And that made him a hero to some, a villain to others, but you couldn't ignore him.
Yeah.
His impact on Argentine culture, on how people saw South American football, it was huge.
And then there's Messi. He's often seen as more reserved, more humble compared to Maradona.
True. Very different personality.
But his brilliance, his consistency, his dedication...
It's earned him respect everywhere.
He lets his feet do the talking.
And in a way, that makes him even more powerful.
Yeah. It's all about the talent and the work. No need for drama. He's a role model, showing that hard work and humility can take you to the top.
Okay, and then there's Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Complete opposite personality. Flamboyant, outspoken.
Larger than life.
Yeah.
Ronaldo is like a modern-day gladiator.
Yeah.
Built himself into this incredible athlete, always striving for perfection.
He's a brand,
Yeah.
A global icon.
His impact goes way beyond just what he does on the field.
He's inspired people with his fitness, his business ventures, pushing boundaries. And then we have Neymar.
Ah, yes. Representing a new generation of footballers.
Very connected to social media, fashion, all of that.
Yeah, he's got that Brazilian flair, but he's also very much a product of the digital age, expressing himself everywhere.
And that's changed how younger fans see the game, I think.
For sure. He's made football cool, trendy.
More connected to the whole entertainment world. So we've gone from Pelé, who helped make football a global phenomenon, to Neymar, who's changing how a whole new generation experiences it.
It's pretty remarkable when you think about it. 5 players, different eras, different styles, but all of them leaving their mark on the world.
Man, we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
I have.
From Pelé's impact on the world stage to Maradona's, whole rebellious thing, Messi's quiet brilliance, Ronaldo just pushing himself constantly.
Yeah.
And then Neymar's, modern flair.
It's been quite a journey.
But have we actually answered the question? Who is the best?
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? What we've learned is maybe there isn't one answer.
Right.
They each represent a different kind of greatness in football.
It's like, what's the best color? Or the best song? It's all subjective. Right?
Exactly. Depends what you value. Some people, they'll be drawn to Pelé just dominating games. Others, they might connect more with that fight Maradona had, that spirit. And then you've got people who love Messi's control, that precision. Or Ronaldo's dedication, how he's built himself. Or maybe it's Neymar and that pure joy he brings when he's playing.
It's all valid. So instead of trying to pick one winner, maybe it's more about appreciating all the different kinds of talent, how each of them pushed the limits of what's possible on the pitch.
I like that. Not a competition, but a celebration of the game, all its different forms.
Right. And it gets you thinking, what's your criteria for greatness? What do you value most in a player?
Is it trophies, goals, or something you can't even measure?
Maybe it's those moments that give you goosebumps. The plays you can't believe you just saw. The players that make you fall in love with the sport all over again.
That's what's so special about football, right? It brings out these powerful emotions, and these players, they've all shaped those emotions for millions of people around the world.
For sure.
So we've looked at the arguments, the different sides, but now we want to hear from you. If you could build your dream team, any player from any era, who would be on it?
All-out attack, rock-solid defense, flair and creativity, experience and leadership.
Imagine Pelé up front, Maradona feeding him passes, Messi dribbling through everyone, Ronaldo with that power in the air, and Neymar just doing Neymar things.
The possibilities. Be your own fantasy manager. Put together that ultimate team.
Share it. Debate it with your friends, because that's what keeps football alive, right? The passion, the arguments, that shared love for the game.
Well said.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone. We hope it got you thinking, maybe sparked some fun conversations.
And until next time, keep exploring, keep debating,
And keep celebrating the beautiful game.